Hello, everyone, and welcome to day one of Career Bootcamp 2025, where you will unlock the secrets of building a successful career. Please note that this session will be offered in English and French simultaneously. And to view the French session, please return to the Zoom lobby and join the French session. I would begin by acknowledging that I am here on the traditional unceded territory of the Algonquin Anishinaabe people. The Algonquin people have lived on this land since time immemorial, and I encourage all of you to acknowledge the land that you're on as well. Career Bootcamp is the largest conference in the GC, and the only goal is to support you in your career journey. As we move through today's session, please share your questions by using the Q&A button in the language of your choice. You can vote for questions you like by clicking on the thumbs up. And with all Fin sessions, this session will be recorded, so you can go back to check out the recordings in the insights at a later date. In addition to the recordings on our YouTube channel, we're also offering another way to learn this year, a podcast series of the Career Bootcamp sessions. After CBC, the podcast will be made available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. We would also like to note that the PowerPoint presentation for each session is included on our wiki page so that you can feel free to follow along at your own rate and to improve your learning experience. All the resources shared during this session will be added to our wiki page under resources. My name is Mackenzie Ricketts, and I will be your moderator for this session. I'm currently an acting senior project officer on Correctional Service Canada's Employment Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion team. A physical description of myself would be that I am a Black woman of Caribbean descent. I have long, wavy, brown-colored hair and dark brown eyes. I'm wearing a cream-colored collared button-down shirt and gold hoop earrings. Now, we do have a couple of polling questions, and this is not a test. It's not mandatory. However, we would appreciate your participation. Our first question is, have you attended CBC in a previous year? Our second question is, which topic are you most excited to learn about? And so we'll leave that up for you for a few moments. Okay, and I would like to just say the post or the poll answers, but I'm not seeing them. Oh, perfect. All right, so the majority of our answers for the first question is, this is your first time. Well, then welcome. We're very excited to have you here today and for the next 2 weeks. And for the second, we have the majority answer being career advancement in your region, advocacy and strategies for success, which will be a great session as well. Thank you, everyone, for your participation. I would also like to take a moment to introduce our panelists, actually. So today we have Carolyn Xavier, Tasha Cloutier, and Jose Jimenez. Carolyn is the Chief of the Communication Security Establishment Canada and Deputy Minister Champion for Racialized Employees. She has been with the public service for over 30 years and has held many executive level positions throughout her career. Tasha is a Wolastoqey woman from the Woodstock First Nation in New Brunswick, living and working on the beautiful unceded territory of the Algonquin Anishinaabe. Tasha joined the public service almost 30 years ago as well, and has worked in a variety of challenging roles over the course of her career. Jose is currently a product marketing specialist for the Canadian Digital Service, leading marketing efforts for the GC forums. Jose is dedicated to learning and evolving as both a leader and mentor, and sharing his knowledge to foster supportive and innovative work environments. So we are very excited and eager to hear what you all have to share with us today. I would like to transition into just some of our learning objectives. So if we can get that on the screen. Our learning objectives for today are making the most of their Career Bootcamp 2025 experience, understanding the Government of Canada context for career development in 2025, and gaining key insights from senior leaders from across the GC. With that being said, we're excited to get started. So Carolyn, I will pass it over to you.
Hello, it's a real pleasure to be here with you this afternoon. Really grateful to have the opportunity to be with you. And as was mentioned, my name is Caroline Xavier, and my pronouns are she, her, elle, la. And I would also add that for those of you who may have a visual impairment, I am wearing glasses, have my hair pulled back, wearing a patterned shirt with a gray cardigan, and I am a person of color, Black being my race. So on slide 8, the preview of the workshops, because there is quite an interesting boot camp ahead. And it was really great to be able to see what some of the topics are that are being considered, because ultimately, I think you guys are going to be relatively pleased about the various topics that you're interested in, because they're going to be covered throughout the various workshops. So starting over the next 2 days, you will learn about the following: navigating values and ethics in professional life. The description of this is exploring the essential role of values and ethics in the workplace and learn how to uphold integrity in your professional life. The takeaway here is that participants will understand the importance of ethical decision making and how to integrate values into their professional conduct. I have to tell you, having been a member of the DM community who worked on the clerk's task force on values and ethics, I really see this as a really important course to take, because we work in a lot of gray in the work that we do. So really hope that many of you will get a lot out of that. Crafting, the second one being crafting your digital persona, a hands-on LinkedIn workshop. The description will be acquiring hands-on skills to enhance your LinkedIn profile, effectively building a professional brand that attracts career opportunities and showcases your professional achievements. The key takeaway here is attendees will leave with an optimized LinkedIn profile and strategies to expand their professional network. And having a LinkedIn profile, personally, you can find me there. I do feel that this is a great opportunity to be able to see what opportunities may exist, because many of us as government departments are definitely posting ads via LinkedIn. The third workshop is Tough Talks for Career Growth, Mastering Difficult Conversations. The description here being develop strategies to confidently handle challenging workplace conversations, from career changes to performance feedback, with professionalism and empathy, fostering a constructive work environment. And the key takeaway here will be for participants that will gain practical tools to navigate sensitive discussions while maintaining positive relationships. And again, this should be of interest to those of you who are thinking that you might want to enter the manager ranks or the supervisory ranks, or having the opportunity to lead others, because having difficult conversations is often what one has to do when they're managing people or interacting with clients. The fourth workshop is understanding global work cultures. The description being engage with international speakers who will share their insights into diverse work cultures and future visions, emphasizing the value of global perspectives in shaping your professional outlook. The key takeaway here is attendees will broaden their understanding of global practices and how these insights can enhance their careers. Again, given the way in which we work in a diverse workplace, how we want to have diverse perspectives in the work that we're doing, this is a great way to better understand the various cultures that we work in, to be able to lead diverse teams. The fifth workshop is unlocking your potential, connecting passion and skills with career development. This description is exploring self-reflection techniques to understand your strengths, your skills, and values, and make informed career choices that align with your personal and professional goals. The key takeaway here is participants will identify actionable steps to align their careers with their passions and their strengths. And I cannot tell you how important this is, because this was what will help build your resilience as a member of a workforce, and ensuring that you have a better understanding of who you are as you climb through the ranks and progress in your career. because who should not know themselves better but yourself, so that you know what are the areas you need to strengthen and the opportunities to go after. And the sixth workshop is the career advancement in your region, advocacy and strategies for success. And one of the ones that seemed to be quite popular in the poll that was just taken. The description is examine how regional employees can leverage self-advocacy to strive professionally, overcoming geographical challenges to achieve career success. And the key takeaway here is that regional employees will learn strategies to advance their careers and maximize opportunities within their unique context. And having worked in large organizations that are decentralized and have regions, I cannot overemphasize how important this is, because often regions tend to be disconnected from headquarters or have limited opportunities for career advancement. So I'm really hopeful that you'll get a lot out of this workshop, because let's be honest, the regions is where the real service delivery is happening. And with that, I'm passing it back. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Caroline. I would like to pass it over to you now, Tasha. The floor is yours.
Thanks, Mackenzie. And Carolyn, lots of excellent points there. I really enjoyed hearing the descriptions of what everybody's going to be, partaking in over the next few days. I entered the public service at the age of 21, and I most definitely had no access to events like this, to this type of support as I entered into my public service career. And so I really think this is a fantastic opportunity for everyone here today. Carolyn, it's almost like we're in sync on the regions, because I love the fact that in 2020, it's 5 now, we can connect in such a way across the country in a face-to-face way, and it really has opened so many doors for the regions, trying to sort of be equal players at the table. No longer are they in a little spider phone on the table. That we can see each other, we can talk to each other, and it's special, and it's so excellent for the regions. And I always have had a tremendous amount of respect for people working in the regions, because I also believe that is where the bulk of the work takes place. And so hello to everyone that's here today. Now I'm here to talk to you about networking opportunities in the virtual expo that's been created. This is a super cool platform. I love it, just seems to be getting better and better. So please, in between, this will open after this session, the virtual expo will open, and we're inviting you to take advantage of that by going in and visiting the various kiosks that are there. It's a really good chance for you to engage with representatives from other employee networks. Here at Canadian Heritage, which is where I work, I am the co-champion for our Indigenous employee community, and it's this wonderful group. We've formed a real sense of community here. You may find other like-minded communities in the expo. There will be lots of representatives from a range of networks, and they'll be able to share their insights with you and how they can support you as a public servant. So it's an excellent opportunity to figure out, how your interests can align with these networks, both personally and professionally. And, if you're looking to join a network or collaborate with other networks, this is a great time for that. So looking forward to connections you will make at that, in this expo. Next slide. So continuing on this vein of networking, there will be some regional social mixers. I think that sounds super fun. That are going to take place simultaneously across the country on January 30th. And so this is a little plug for you to, if you're in one of these locations, to avail yourself of a unique opportunity to connect with people in your area. I love that you'll be from various departments, and you'll get to meet one another and start to establish your network. And I'm going to probably talk a lot about that today. You'll also be able to meet members of the Federal Youth Network who can help you also to build more meaningful relationships with others in your region and engage in some excellent conversations, create a sense of community and shared purpose among public servants. I wish I could be there at all of them. And so mark your calendars for January 30th and participate if you can. It's an excellent way to just have fun and engage with the broader public service community and exchange some ideas. So thank you. Turn it back to Mackenzie.
Thanks so much, Tasha. Over to you, Jose.
Thank you, Mackenzie. Hi, everyone. My name is Jose. I'm a Latino man of Ecuadorian descent, currently wearing a blue blazer with a button-up white t-shirt, not t-shirt, shirt. Today, I get to build on Tasha's great points on networking and tell you a little bit more about Finn's in-person learning days. And in fact, those in-person learning days is what started my journey to speaking with you today. These are sessions that will be held in 25 cities across the country, bringing public servants together to learn, share, and grow as a community. It's an incredible opportunity to step away from being on screens all day and connect with peers in person, especially if you're based in the regions like me. I work and live out of Toronto here in Ontario. Each learning day is designed to be interactive and engaging, with workshops tailored to building your professional skills, strengthening your networks, and sharing tools and resources to help you succeed in your career. Another cool perk is getting to meet members of the regional Fin networks and building meaningful relationships with them specific to your region. And what's really cool about that is that they are aware of other events that may be happening through other associations, like IPAC, for example. And so you, by just showing up, building those relationships, you get to open up this whole other set of doors that you may not have access to by, just kind of staying in your office or staying within that bubble. One of the things I really enjoy about in-person learning days is getting to talk with other people, especially that share similar journeys, that share similar struggles at specific points in their career. And I've had the pleasure of speaking at, I think, 2 in-person learning days now. And every time I get to do that, it just fills me with joy being able to connect with other public servants like myself that are too trying to figure out how to make a career in this extensive and expansive organization. These events are free to attend, but spots are limited. So do make sure to register early to secure your place I remember in both instances when I presented, those sessions were sold out. And so make sure to get in early. With that said, if there's one takeaway when you go into your next learning day, if you do choose to come, one, I hope to see you there. And two, go in with curiosity. We're all trying to figure it out along the way. Nobody's an expert. And really, the journey, whether you're, and I'm sure Tasha and Carolyn will share this with me, the journey is all about learning, whether you're early in your career, in the middle of your career, or you're already a DM. With that said, passing it back to you, Mackenzie.
Thanks so much, Jose. And completely agreed with that last point that you made. I think we are all definitely just trying to figure it out, and these sessions definitely are a huge help to allowing us to achieve those goals and that communal networking that we're all eager to be doing. So thank you so much, Caroline, Tasha, and Jose. We'll now move on to questions from the audience, which is the fun part. So you can use the Q&A function, and you can also vote for the questions you like by using the thumbs up feature. So let's jump right in. Panelists, we're going to do this a little differently. I am going to do the first question, and I'll ask each and every one of you to answer, and then we'll kind of segue into just some one-on-one questions. But if you can answer as thoroughly but as quickly as possible, because we do want to get to everyone's questions, that would be fantastic. And just so everyone is aware, you will be able to access all of the resources mentioned. They will be shared on the Fin wiki page after the event. So let's begin. The first question is, what was one key career decision that shaped where you are today, and how did you make that decision? So I will go to Caroline first, Tasha, and then Jose.
All right, thanks, Mackenzie, and thanks to our participants for the question. A career decision. I have to say, I don't know if it's only one career decision that brought me to recognize that I wanted to be in leadership, but more the a series of actions that happened either to me or that I was part of, or seeing that I wanted to influence and really have the opportunity to lead people and wanting to have the opportunity to make more decisions for where I was headed, but at the same time lead others with me. I'd say that that's probably what helped shape and drive where I am. I'm an individual. It tends to be a bit of a type A personality. And so I like to get things done and I like to take action, which has some pros and cons, of course. But with that said, I have found that I've always been a driven individual. And so when I would see that there was an opportunity to influence change or an opportunity to take charge, I would naturally gravitate to some of those opportunities. And I think when I started to see that this was in line with where I wanted to go from a career perspective, then I started looking at where are the opportunities to be able to make that change happen. And so I'll leave it at that for now, just because I'm cognizant that there's many questions and so many others who can answer.
Thanks so much, Tasha.
Thanks, Mackenzie. For me, it's a bit of story time. I thought about it and I thought about whether or not there was a turning point or something that sort of led me to where I am today. And so I worked in the same program from beginning at the age of 21. At the turn of the century, I realized a little bit after I said that. But I worked in the same program for nearly 18 years. And I went in at entry level and I worked my way up to head of operations. And it was an Indigenous specific program that had a reputation for being pretty harmful and pretty colonial. And I convinced myself I would do this work because I would be able to, be someone on the other end of the line, be on the inside and help demystify the program. But what happened, folks, was, I had a great career there, and I grew and I learned. But after a while, I realized that the work I was doing, the higher I became, didn't resonate with my values anymore. And that in and of itself was very hard for me when I came to that realization. And so I decided to leave and look for a place that, I felt like I was making a really positive contribution for Indigenous people and I could be excited about my work. And it was the right thing to do. It helped me set upon a path of learning and fun and exciting work over the last 8 years. And it also meant the difference to me stepping into the executive cadre and deciding that that was something I wanted for myself. So yeah, it was a bit of story, very long story, but I tried to make it as short as I could.
No,
Thanks.
we appreciate that. Thanks, Tasha. Jose?
I think for me, it was a moment of courage. A role had opened up in my organization, the Canadian Digital Service, that was 2 levels above my substantive. But the work seemed interesting, and I was looking for a change in the role. And so I applied, of course, with a lot of encouragement and support of colleagues and friends. And although that role didn't pan out, and that's a whole other story, um, applying to a role did mean that my resume got in front of a decision maker who was looking to backfill a role. Well, they weren't really looking to backfill the role until they saw my resume and they saw that I would make a good fit for that backfill. And so where I work now, the product marketing specialist role came to be out of that moment of courage because at the time that role and function didn't even exist in our org. And so by taking that leap, my resume got in front of the right person. That person took a chance on me, and thankfully, since then, we've got it. We've had a great time doing some great work.
No, thank you all for that. So what I'm hearing is strategic thinking, authenticity in yourself and staying true to your morals and values, and then also having that courage to kind of step out of the box and take a chance and bet on yourself. So great responses, but we'll keep it moving. This next question will be directed to Caroline. What does bringing your authentic self to work mean to you, and how can others do this in professional environments like the GC?
Yeah, no, thanks again for the question. Before I move on to this, just because hearing my colleagues, fellow panelists, made me think of something. I feel that sometimes bad managers make us decide to move on as well. I just thought I'd share that because that has been the other thing that helped shape my future. So in terms of bringing authentic self, I feel that what that means for me is really trying to do the best of bringing my best self all the time to the office, which is not always easy. It's a challenge because we have good days and bad days. We're human. But it's important that I see that when we do bring our best selves to the office and try to be authentic to who we are, and as was said by Tasha, true to our own values, we're going to do a better job of really giving our best advice to be able to shape policies for Canadians. Because ultimately, that is what we're aiming to do, is service delivery. And in doing what I know matters in terms of bringing that diverse perspective I may have that's different than somebody else's, and in shaping the policies or the operational delivery that I'm doing, will only make it that it's better outcomes for Canadians. And I witness this on a regular basis, especially as a deputy minister in the work that I'm doing, that we do see that when we allow people to bring themselves, their best selves to the office and come together to really tackle complex problems, we see the outcomes. We see the business case daily on a daily basis, day in and day out. And it really is amazing when that happens. And I do feel that this is the value we bring when we're able to bring ourselves to the office in the most authentic way that we can, recognizing that sometimes we might have conflicts because we're all individuals, but how you maneuver through these conflicts, how you can debate and have safe spaces to debate those conflicts are opportunities as well, because then you just get to hear different perspectives. And I think Jose said this earlier, or maybe it was Tasha, the opportunity to always be learning. Like that's for me, I think it was Jose who said it, as a deputy, I am still learning on a daily basis. I learned something new, in particular for an organization of the kind that I lead. But I find that as I'm still learning, I continue to be a better leader and bring my best self to the office.
Thank you, Caroline. I really like that last piece that you said, everything that you said, but specifically what resonated with me was the opportunity to always be learning and adjusting. I think that it was a really key point to always keep in mind. Moving on to our next question, I'm going to direct this to Jose. What advice would you give to someone navigating their career in the rapidly changing landscape of 2025, particularly within the public service?
Thanks, Mackenzie. Before diving into that, I just want to build off Caroline's point. Um, when, we often hear leaders say, showing up to as yourself is important. And having had the chance to meet many people at CSC, you can tell in the employees, in the way that people show up, that this is true. And so, big hats to you all, Caroline, and also the wonderful people at CSC. Joe Cowell, who is a wonderful colleague, has shown me that even in these what can seem intimidating spaces like the security agencies, there is space, there is flexibility to show up as oneself. Now, to answer your question, Mackenzie, I think for me, my experience is in the digital innovation space, which means that a lot of my roles have been a little bit unconventional. What does that mean? the the classifications and the responsibilities that you would normally see for the types of roles that I have done have been more flexible than normal. And that also means that my career path has sort of been not undefined. I like to say that I'm building clarity on it along the way. So if you are part of whether the innovation community or the GC digital community, this might be resonating with you. And so my advice to you in that regard is focus on how you can deliver value. One of the most important things that have helped me move my career forward, especially in this space, is understanding that when your roles are a little bit undefined, especially if you just have a title and not like a full job description, it means that you have the flexibility to kind of establish what value looks like on your own. And if you can figure that out, if you can sharpen your skill in finding what the right value for the right situation looks like, that will take you really far in your career. Because fundamentally, at the end of the day, regardless of job descriptions, we're trying to deliver value for Canadians. And so that has helped me really not just understand what I'm good at, but also how I want to continue building on building on my career, knowing that, I don't have a predefined, path given what I do, because not a lot of people, frankly, do product marketing in the government, or at least I haven't found others outside of my team that have a formalized function. So yeah, find ways to deliver value.
No, that's fantastic. Focus on how you can deliver value. That is one of the sentences that stuck out to me. Great advice. Thank you, Jose. Tasha, we're going to come over to you and we'll ask, how can participants make the most of their career bootcamp experience over the next few days?
Thanks, Mackenzie. Yeah, going back to what Jose was just saying, though, I used to just laugh and detest when people would ask me throughout my career, like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? What is your 5-year plan? And I got to tell you, I've been in the public service for almost 27 years. And I hate it when people ask me that, because I've never allowed, and if you're the type of person who needs that vision, then that's totally okay. For me, I really like organic experience. Like I like my career and my opportunities to come to me organically, right time, right place. I don't generally believe in coincidences either, because that's just the way things have been. So yeah, like find your value, but also like allow things to happen in such a way, like Jose's path ending up in front of someone who could give him an opportunity. Yeah. So that's kind of how I preferred to ride my career path, is just by getting to know folks. And that's bringing me again to networking. And I mean, you'll probably hear me talk about it a lot. I won't stop. And I feel like the best way for you to make the most of the experience is, to go in, take in the sessions, listen to people's lived experiences. But networking is really critical in your career. A lot of folks have been taught, myself included, like work hard, put your head down, stay in your office, and just, produce, produce, produce. That's true, because your reputation as a hard worker is critical. But if nobody knows you, you're going to have a difficult time moving forward. So meeting and networking with other people as part of the career boot camp is really critical. For me, on my calendar, I color code my calendar. It helps me. And I have a category that is purple. And my purples are opportunities where I have, seized the chance to meet with somebody, not because of work necessarily, or maybe there's a common, overlapping reason for us to meet, but I just liked their vibe. And I'll be like, hey, have tea with me, have a virtual tea with me. And put that emphasis on people of all levels, departments, races, genders, like just really expand your mind and your network. And if you're an introverted person who doesn't generally, that's not your first instinct is to do something like that, then find a well-connected extrovert and follow them around. Like there's ways you can bypass that. So and that especially is a message for folks in the region. It's just, like it's important to do a good job. It's important to have a great reputation. But it's just as important to know folks who can help you, and can help you advance even your own work. So I'll stop there. I had lots to say about that, but
No, that's great. Opportunities to seize the chance to meet with someone and expand your mind and network. I hope everyone is listening, because this is gold for me as well. So our next question is, what are the most important skills or values you believe individuals should cultivate for career success in the Government of Canada in 2025? So maybe I'll just choose someone to answer this question, just so that we can get, I see we have at least 32 questions that we are going to try and get through. So Tasha, why don't we go ahead and get you to answer this one?
oh, thanks. I'm glad you chose me, because I have a bit of continuation from what I said before. So remember when I talked about leaving my program, when I finally made the decision that it was time for me to move on. It was really hard to leave. I had grown a massive family of colleagues that I really liked. And I was the leading subject matter expert. Like just, it was really, I was really important to the program, or at least I thought I was. So, I remember my husband saying to me when I said, I've got to go and work somewhere else, he said, well, are you sure that you want to leave there and go someplace where nobody knows you and not be the subject matter expert anymore? And I thought about that because it was really scary, the idea of leaving. And so um, that's when folks, like, seriously, I realized that I had had my head down and I had been in my office and that I didn't know anyone outside of my domain. I had really varied experience. I had policy, program experience. I had experience in engagement, project management, grants and contributions. But I didn't know anyone. And so I remember specifically going to this one interview with a man, and he wanted me to work in a ministerial trip unit or something like that. And he said, Tasha, I really love your resume. But really, like, because you've only ever worked in one place, it just makes you look like, you're a subject matter expert, that you don't necessarily have the diverse experience that someone would see had you been in different departments or different areas. And I never forgot about that. So again, don't isolate yourself. Make sure that you're getting to know folks everywhere. Make sure that your work resonates, and make sure you're building your toolkit so that it resonates with your values, and you're doing work that fills you up and finding value and purpose. But also so that your resume looks diverse and like you have a range of competencies. Again, never forget the importance of a really carefully cultivated network. And the last piece is volunteerism. There's lots of corporate initiatives that you can ignite your own passion with. If you're young, you can join the youth network. If you're Indigenous, you can be part of an Indigenous community. I mean, there's so much out there, and that not only helps you get to know folks, it helps you really contribute your lived experience and your knowledge to something broader, to the government of Canada. And also never forget your learning plan. Your learning plan is critical. It's not just like a thing on the system. Like, you really should be looking at learning that will help you either get to the level that you're looking to get to, or will help you to get to know people again. So I'm going to stop the networking. I guess I'll stop talking about that at this point. But like, I can't say enough about it.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you so much. I'll give you a little break since we do have some questions about mentorship in your career. We'll go to the second question, and sorry, just getting refreshed. I want to direct this to Jose. Given the current fiscal restraints facing the entire federal public service, what are some things those of us early in our career can do to continue to see growth in our career, given some departments are not allowing promotions currently? So Jose, take it away.
I clearly did not click refresh on my Q&A. So that was not the question I was looking at, but happy to take a stab at it.
That's okay. We can pivot if you'd like. I was actually going to direct that to Carolyn. If you wouldn't mind, Carolyn, would you take a stab at that
No
question?
problem. I was thinking, oh, wow, Jose, I can't wait to hear what you're going to say. No, excellent question. And I recognize that this is at top of mind for many of our departments out there, because we are in a recognition of fiscal restraint, including the fact that we had some media yesterday, and in particular on Immigration, Refugee, Citizenship Canada, we talked about letters that were issued to their employees there. So listen, ultimately, things that we can do if you're at the beginning of your career, we talked about learning being really important, and that ongoing learning can happen from a personal investment as well. So I guess one of the things I would recommend is that people not only rely on the employer being the one that's going to provide you the learning opportunities. And I think of this in particular when it comes to language. We know that being able to work, speak both official languages is something that's required as we move up the ranks in management. And so for some of us who may not have that privilege of already having more than one language, it is something that is sometimes going to be more challenging. So even starting to take some of those offerings that many departments have with regards to whether it's lunch and learn types of things, or listening to podcasts, or various ways in which you can do learning either online or in breakout sessions at lunch, like, leverage those opportunities. It really is a way in which to continue to at least keep your mind sharp and advance in a skill set that you might need if you want to progress in your career. The other thing is there are many other ways to learn and to progress. Shadowing is another opportunity. Those are free. The mentoring opportunities, being able to find people that you aspire to be like and asking them if they want to be your mentor, or through the boot camp, you're going to meet a whole bunch of different people, seeing whether there are mentoring opportunities. Speed mentoring opportunities happen fairly regularly in various parts of our federal public service, and including the young professional networks that do those. And just trying to find different ways. And I think it was Tasha had said this, getting involved in some of the corporate initiatives. The GCWCC campaign, so the United Way equivalent campaign, is one of those opportunities where you're showcasing yourself to others who don't necessarily see you on a daily basis. So as Tasha said, getting yourself out of your immediate cubicle and really getting yourself exposed as best as you can is just another way to continue to ensure that you're going to get exposed to different things, exposed to different people, and be able to continue to be learning. But don't fear the fact that you might have to make a personal investment sometimes. And I use this as an example from my own experience, that at one point when I wanted to become an executive and I had done the CS ranks or the computer science ranks throughout my career, and then said I was ready to move into the executive ranks, it took me a long time through competitive processes before I could progress. And a big part that I found I was missing was a master's degree. So I went back to school. And so I'm not saying that that's the case for everybody, but I did find that getting my master's and seeing it as an asset was actually a barrier for me in the progression of my career. And so these are the reflections one has to have, is really doing that inward look, seeing what tools you have in your toolkit, what might you be missing, and really trying to use the opportunities to go and find those areas of development. And there are different ways you can do that. As I mentioned, whether it's shadowing, mentoring, getting sponsored, there's different ways in which one can achieve that.
Thank you so much, Caroline. I do kind of have a small follow-up to that. And if you could comment, with the changing landscape that we're seeing in the federal public service, do you have any comments on how to navigate this new hybrid working environment, or this like new digital space that we're working in, and how we can implement what you've said to do with this new kind of world and landscape for all of us?
No, really great question. So because of the directive that's been implemented of wanting to have us be physically in office for 3 days a week, that is an opportunity to seize. If you're in the office more frequently, bonus, but these opportunities also are capable in a hybrid manner, especially when you're interacting with regional individuals, for example, as I think Tasha said earlier. If anything, we've seen that hybrid has brought us in regions, for example, more closely integrated, because we don't have to travel somewhere to go and have an interaction with somebody. So there's no reason why a language course, for example, or being able to practice your second language can't be done virtually. So those are opportunities that are offered, and I think many departments do offer them in that manner, and not only in a in-presence way. But even when we've done some of the corporate events like the GCWCC, we've done them in a hybrid way, depending on the department. We've demonstrated that that's possible. Or they're held regionally for certain elements, or they're held in HQ. But when we brought both HQ and regions together, we've done it in a hybrid way. And so that's definitely possible. But highly recommend that, some of the things we've implemented here is bringing somebody in with you to a meeting. So a fly on the wall, we call it in our organization. And so these are, again, opportunities to be able to witness and get exposed to governance bodies that you don't usually get to see. And that can happen as well in a hybrid manner, depending on the type of meeting it is. So I do think that these opportunities are still available, even when we work in a hybrid way.
No, great. Thank you so much. We'll pass it back to you, Jose. And how about this question? In your experience, how important is mentorship in career development? And what advice would you give to those seeking mentorship in their professional journey? And Tasha, at the end, I don't know if you wanted to comment on that as well, but you're more than welcome to.
Awesome. Thanks, Mackenzie. One of the things I've struggled with in my career is finding the right mentor. And it wasn't until I think last year when I attended a conference, that someone reframed that challenge for me. And they framed it as mentors versus coaches versus sponsors. I just posted a link in the chat. I welcome everyone to take a look at that. I think one of the things that has unlocked this challenge for me has been differentiating the people in my life that fit each of these criteria. Because when you think about it, mentoring requires a time investment, and it also requires you as a person to be self-aware about the direction that you want to take in your career. So one of the things that I would to share with folks to think about is a mentor is someone whose journey you kind of want to follow in the long term. It's sort of like a medium term commitment type of thing, and it does require your time investment to nurture and build that. And I know for a fact that I've had mentors in the past that have fizzled out because I've taken different directions, and that's okay. But who might actually be more important to have, especially if you're trying to consider career advancement in the public service, are sponsors. These are people that may not necessarily work with you day to day. They might not be your manager, but through networking or by putting yourself out there at work, they would be willing to put in a good word for you. And those are the people that would say good things about you when you're not in the room. And then lastly, a coach could be someone like your manager, someone who's really helping you hone in your craft in a specific discipline and really helping you become a better analyst, in my case, a better product marketer, a better economist, etc. And so when you reframe that mindset from mentorship to this type of like three-prong approach, I would dare say a lot of more opportunities open up for you. And to answer the original question, how important mentorship is. Mentorship is important. It is good to have a mentor once you know the direction that you want to take with your career in the long term. But it's not the only thing that's important. And it might not be the thing that you need right now in that specific moment in your career. One of the reasons I struggle with finding a mentor in my specific field is because I'm still figuring out what discipline I want to make my career between now and when I retire. And so because I'm still in that exploration phase, I'm not focusing as much on finding a specific mentor. And along those lines, it's also important to recognize that as you go further in your career, different types of mentors will open up for you. And, it might not make sense for you, if you're just an analyst to go ask a DM to be your mentor, because that might not be the journey that you want to take with right now. But maybe down the road, if you're a DG, if you go further up in the ranks, those experiences are more compatible, and therefore you can actually have a more constructive experience, and both of you can make the most out of it.
No, great answer. And I really like the differentiation between the three that you mentioned. I won't quote myself because I don't think I can remember off the top of my head. But Tasha, I wanted to give you an opportunity if you'd like to comment on that as well. If not, I think we have time for about 3 more questions. So we'll move on if not.
I don't have a long commentary for it. I think this is fantastic, Jose. I've bookmarked it. It's a great way of breaking it down. For me, I just want to encourage everybody here to remember that you yourself can offer this to other people at any time. Like you don't have to have a coach and mentor. So you can be that to other people as well. So, don't forget that you yourself have lived experience and you have ideas and you're a good listener. Whatever your superpower is, you can offer that to other people as well. I consider my relationships with people rather informal and that, and very reciprocal. So like whomever I'm meeting with always has something to teach me. So I'm always looking for myself, younger people who can sort of keep my mind in a good space where, I'm linked into what young people and what younger public servants need and want, so that I can be passing. I think I've got 7 years left in my career, so I'm looking forward to passing all those roles over to them. So thank you.
Sorry,
Yeah, no,
Mackenzie, can I jump in on this? Because I think my
absolutely.
colleagues have done a great job, and I really wanted to just hammer in on the point Tasha made that reverse mentoring is such it's happening to us right here, right now, to be honest, right? And then the only other thing I'd add to what Jose said is you can have more than one mentor at a time, right? My experience has been sometimes I've had somebody that was really more of a cheerleader, and other times I had a different one at the same time that was more critical, constructive feedback. And both of them together gave me great opportunities to grow. So just recognizing that more than one at a time is okay too.
No, thank you, everyone. And so we're talking about mentor versus a coach and versus sponsor for anyone who might have missed that. So we are running out of time. I'm going to try and get through 3 more questions. So if we can keep these responses concise, we're going to try our best. Caroline, I want to direct this to you. What do you recommend for people who may be feeling stuck at a level? I know many people who have been in the same position level, permanent for 5+ years, who have been trying to get to that next level or try different positions, but are not getting any opportunities. What advice would you be able to provide on that question?
So that's a tough one to answer when you don't know the context of what the person is living in. But having said that, in my own experience, when I've been in a position, first of all, I always ask myself, am I still learning in the job that I'm in, right? Because people often ask, when is it time to move on? And you don't want to be necessarily moving on too quickly, because have you really left a mark or an impact perhaps where you are? And maybe you're moving on because there's a reason you need to move on, because maybe the environment's too toxic, yada yada. So that could be valid as well. But when one is reflecting on whether it's time to move on, usually if it's a nurturing environment, the thing I always ask myself is, okay, have I learned the most out of this opportunity? Is it time to move on? Because I think, as Tasha said, or Jose, another opportunity has presented itself at the right time, right? Or you're reflecting on whether this is an opportunity worth seizing, because I'm going to still be able to make an impact and grow, or it's going to achieve something I'm missing in my toolkit or in my career progression, and help me become more well-rounded for the next job or where my progression wishes are. But I think knowing yourself and knowing your strengths and areas of development are really critical to determining whether you might be the problem as to why you're not progressing. Sometimes the answer, you're not, but you have to ask yourself that first before you decide that the system is the reason or that the people around you are. You have to ask yourself, are you, and doing, whether it's 360 exercises, doing some peer review exercises, and really taking some of that constructive feedback that you've received from trusted people. And this is where the networks piece that Tasha talked about is really important, right? What has your network recognized about yourself? Have you asked people that report to you or people that work with you, what are you like as a colleague, to be able to have a really honest reflection of whether or not you have the skills for these jobs you're looking for example, or are they seeing some things about you that they wish you did differently? So you have to do that self-reflection, and that's hard because that means you have to be really honest with yourself. And so that would be the first place I'd start. And if the answer is at the end of the day that your 360s and all these things are coming back in a positive way, then you have to look around about back to that sponsor and mentorship element. Are you in an environment that is helping support your career progression? Are they helping you grow? Are you in an environment that sees the value you're bringing? And if some of these answers are no, then you may not be in the right environment for you, or maybe you're not even in the right career progression for yourself. Maybe you might want to reflect on whether you need to do a drastic change. And I think what Jose said earlier, sometimes this will take courage to really get out of these comfortable zones we are in. And that means taking a leap of faith. But I would only recommend that if you're going, again, in an environment that is going to help support you, because when you're entering an area that you know the less about, you want to make sure you're going to be able to succeed. And what are those elements around you that are going to help you succeed? I'm trying to be really fast on answering this, but I'm sure there's more we can add on this from others.
No, not a problem. I know I'm not giving you much time. We're going to do 2 more questions, and hopefully within 2 minutes we can achieve that. I will go to Tasha first, and then Jose second. First question is, how can you move forward in your career in times of budget cuts? I would love to know how you evolved in the GC in times of difficulty. So Tasha, to you, and then our last question will be to you, Jose.
I think Carolyn kind of covered some of that, when she talked about making sure that you're getting the most out of the position you're in and that you're learning the most that you can. I think that, and I have lived through times of budget constraint. I lived through the last drop and times before that. I would have to say that's when you have to look at your tools, your skills, and sort of consider at-level moves. So if you've learned all you can learn at your specific level, then maybe it's time to look for an assignment or for a lateral elsewhere. Because when organizations are not able to bring people in from the outside, they will often look internally to move people around at level so that they can still maintain their salary deficits or just be able to keep their salary budgets in check. So I would say at a time like that, you should really be, continuing to look for opportunities, for promotion, but at the same time, realistically looking at what you can do at level to continue to grow. I mean, I was an EX-1, a PM6 for 11 years. And I stayed at that level happily, moving from position to position, doing work that filled me right up. And it really, really helped me grow my toolkit. And then when I decided that I wanted to sort of move into I knew when it was time for me to move into the EX cadre, it made it that much easier because I had so many skills. Like I was able to really check the boxes. So thank you.
No, thanks so much. And our last question for today is, what challenges did you face early in your career, and how did you overcome them to achieve success? And you can take this however you'd like or rephrase. And maybe after you, Jose, if anyone else would like to add a comment, they can, and then we'll go into our closing.
Great question. Wow. I'd say because my roles have been how to say the least flexible, it was hard to find a classification that made sense for me. Because as a person that also wants to move up, it was important for me to find the right place in order to start that journey. I think the support of both colleagues, more experienced, and also my employer helped me move into the category that made sense for the roles that I've been exploring. For context, I'm really interested in digital products and product management. And so even though I started with a communications background, where I currently work, I was able to move into a more technical classification that opens up more of those doors for me. And that process took years. I'd say like 2.5 years for that to happen. But thanks again to support of a really good manager and colleagues that helped me kind of navigate that process and really make sure that that was the right move for me. I was able to find a place where I could start that growth journey and continue. And I'm now continuing that.
No, thank you so much. Honestly, you've all been just such a wealth of knowledge. I know that I personally have learned a lot of key takeaways that I can also apply to my career, and I'm sure everyone else on the session today can as well. And definitely going back to review this recording on the Fin YouTube page or check out the podcast series the next time you have questions about this particular topic. Now, to our audience, if you want to know more about any of these topics, check out the CBC 2025 Wiki resource page. Really big thank you to all of our panelists today. And in closing, we do have one final polling question, and the results, so you're aware, the results of the poll will not be shared. The question is, was this session a good use of your time? Wonderful. Thank you all so much for joining us today. In addition to this afternoon session, we will be discussing navigating values and ethics in your personal life at 2:30 p.m. ET. There's also an opportunity to drop into the kiosks and speak with members of the GC communities immediately following this session, and how to navigate the expo floor and kiosk booths. If you are wondering, you just go to the expo tab in the lobby menu. You'll enter the expo floor, and then you can move your avatar to enter booths. The link to all of the sessions, as well as the networking event, can also be found on the Zoom event main page. And also resources will be on the wiki page, and the recording of this event will be available on your YouTube channel. So again, we just want to thank all of our panelists for the knowledge that they imparted on us today. And I wish you the best in your career journeys moving forward. Thank you everyone so much, and enjoy the rest of your day.